tiny little grain that has its own north and south. So the south end of that aligns itself to the north, so the north and south are track. So the tiny little mineral grain flips itself so that the south pole's pointing to the north, and the north pole is pointing to the south. Now, why is that important? Well, if you ever look at a compass, you have one part of that needle that's painted in red, one part is painted in white. Oh, that's your south and north pole.
They said North Pole and South Pole.
Well, we're going to get to that in just a minute. Okay. So when we look at this then, right, we have those iron minerals, and when they cool, they get stuck in a rock and they're completely aligned in the magnetic field. Now comes the really cool part. Watch what happens.
Is it like ice? It expands?
Not really ice. What? Let's take a look at this again. What's going on is that molten lava is coming out, right? As those iron mineral grains solidify, they are aligned to the north because we're under normal polarity, which means we have north and then the south, right? With reverse polarity, those poles flip. And that's what you're talking about, Brandon. Okay, so under reverse polarity, then at that point in time, those mineral grains align themselves to the south. Okay? So what we find is, as we go across our ocean floor, what do you notice? No? Brandon? Two things I want you guys to pick up from this image.
No, parallel, not perpendicular, parallel.
Parallel, what do you mean by parallel? What are parallel?
Lines.
Okay, good. What else? Tell me what else you guys notice. This is a really big concept. AJ?
Isn't it if you're switching back and forth?
What do you mean by switch back and forth?
Normal to reverse.
Oh, and that happens quite often, right? The white streaks represent normal polarity. The black streaks represent reverse polarity.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? That tells us that our north and south poles flip on a regular basis, all the time. Again, we're talking about geologic time. So within our recent history, we're under normal polarity. But these switch very often, geologically. No, much more than that. A couple, maybe a couple hundred million, or a couple million.
What do you mean, like, it reverses and how it
Literally, and then the fields split. So your compass would no longer point north, it will point south.
So why would it like, switch it is like after a long period of time and like that?
And then it flips back. And then it flips again, and then it flips back. You know, I don't know. We don't know the mechanism by which it flips. Nor do we know, does this happen overnight, or is this a gradual process? We don't have those answers.
Is it after multiple eruptions?
Well, the eruptions, all the eruptions do are trap the iron so that it tells us what polarity was at that time.
Okay, so like.
So the eruptions don't cause the normal and reverse polarity. All they do is give us evidence that it has switched.
I get that,
Okay.
but I mean, like, I'm saying, like, I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, because each layer, like, looks like the same, like, I'm not explaining it. I'm confused.
Well, there's another piece I want you guys to look at. If this is the ridge right here, what do you notice about this side? And that side?
There's a big.
Brandon? It's the same pattern. It's identical. Which tells us that when it comes out of the mid-ocean ridge, it's pushing the rock away from the ridge. So what does that tell you about the minerals here versus the minerals here? What's it talking about their age?
The closer they are in the new.
There we go. The farther you are off from the ridge, the older your rocks. Closer to the ridge, the newer rock. Which makes sense. It's where the rock is created. So of course that's going to be the new rock. Yes?
How you're talking about the poles switching, so wouldn't that like flip the magnetosphere towards the sun?
I don't know.
Because doesn't it seem like it would do that if it was to have how ours goes like this now? So it would, if it was to flip, why wouldn't it the whole thing turn?
Brandon, we don't know. It has never done this within recent human history. And so, since recorded history, we have not experienced a flip in magnetism. Oh, it definitely will. Without a doubt that it'll do it again.
I mean, wouldn't it make sense though to just make the whole?
To me, I don't even know what would cause it to flip. I don't know. And we just don't have that information. There's one more thing on here called paleomagnetism. And all that is, paleomagnetism is basically the study of Earth's magnetic fields. Alright, so that was the new technologies that allowed us to get some new information off the ocean floor. Well, then we start going into the great age of oil drilling. And we start drilling into the ocean crust. And that's what we find out. What does that tell us about the rocks? Two things we can learn from this. Two things. One, we can learn the age of the rocks. And what we find out is the rocks that are closer to the ridge are newer than the rocks away from the ridge. That's a big concept. Make sure you know that. The rocks closer to the ridge are younger than the rocks away from the ridge. And in fact, right now, our oldest ocean floor is only 180 million years old. Think about that for a minute. How old is the Earth? 4.5 what? Billion. 4.5 billion. Yet, the oldest ocean crust is how old? 180 million. That's a little interesting. Has nothing to do with that. I mean, that right there is just ridiculously young. That's not even a tenth of the age of the Earth. So this is kind of interesting. Why? Now, remember we talked about the scientists are scrambling to come up with answers? This is a big one right here. Remember, what was one of the major assumptions we thought about the age of the ocean crust? One of the first assumptions.
That it was older than the continent.
Yeah, we thought it was much older than the continents. Yeah, well, we've proven that it's actually much younger than our continents. So that throws that one out. So this whole concept of plate tectonics is brand new ideas all the time, challenging the status quo of geology. It's a really kind of an interesting, dynamic topic to be talking about. Now, why? Tell me. Now again, you guys know about plate tectonics, at least I'm assuming you guys understand it. Why is there such a discrepancy? What makes up for that difference? Why do you think that our oldest crust is only 180 million years old? Where did it go? What are your thoughts? I had to go somewhere. What do you guys know about plate tectonics?
They go under.
They go underground. Why is when they go under the ground? They melt. It gets destroyed. It gets recreated somewhere else. So this old crust is constantly getting destroyed and spewed back out somewhere else. So that's why our ocean crust is so young. It's getting destroyed all the time. Brandon.
So do we ever have like a Pangea?
Oh, absolutely. It's not in your lifetime. But we will. Mark my words, we Really?
How can you prove it?
I'll come back in 500 million.
I
Alright.
don't know if it's one of your lifetimes.
He's gonna have his body frozen so that he's bringing it back to life.
No, electricity line, I'll do my way. Alright, here we go. Next question. How many guys have an attic? How many guys put stuff in your attic? Okay, next question. Put something in your attic a year ago. Put something in your attic a month ago. Talk to me about the dust that's collecting on those two objects. Yeah, you got more time to accumulate. Next piece of evidence to support seafloor spreading. When we started drilling closer to the ocean ridges, we found out that the layer of sediments, the mud, as on top of the bedrock, was very, very thin, compared to 400 meters at the trench. So you have this much at the trench, and you have this much at the ridge. Again, telling us that the trenches had more time to accumulate that sediment. And now we'll put this all together into seafloor spreading. The concept of seafloor spreading. Basically this. This is the concept I want you guys to know about seafloor spreading. New oceanic crust is created at the ridges, and the old is destroyed at the trenches. We are created at the ridge, destroyed at the trench. That's the concept of seafloor spreading. Now notice, did any of this talk about continental drift? No, because right now those are two separate theories. Okay, so at the end of our day today, we have two separate theories. Yeah.
What are we doing tomorrow?
Like that comments.
Do what we're gonna do.
Watch the videos.
Just do that. Okay. Awesome.
All right.